Hey fans, so I just got out of seeing Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, and I wanted to get this review up as quick as possible. And I'm not at the usual shooting place this weekend, but I really want to get this video out to you guys and describe and try and review this movie. Now, I won't be going into too much spoiler territory, because I want to do a spoiler-filled talk with Josh at some point when we are together again, and I don't really want to ruin anything for you guys. That being said, as a die-hard DC Comics fan, the film is okay, for the most part. And okay is kind of being nice to the movie, if I'm being perfectly honest. The first two-thirds I enjoyed. I thought was fairly average. I thought it was on par with Avengers Age of Ultron, which I could live with. I was just like, okay, it's fun. And then the third act came, which, if you saw the second trailer, then you know something big that comes, literally, in the movie, and that really struck a nerve with me. And how that was handled was incredibly poor. But we'll come back to that. But we'll start with the positives, because I'm going to keep looking at the world of DC optimistically. I choose to be an optimistic person. But after watching this movie, it's incredibly difficult. But there are some positives. The film has a lot of good individual qualities, but as a whole, as a narrative, it falls apart. But the solid individual pieces are Ben Affleck's Batman is by far one of the best Batmans ever. Like, I'm very, very much looking forward to standalone Batman movies now, because Ben Affleck will be fantastic, and Zack Snyder's not directing. That'll be more of my negatives, though. Ben Affleck was great as Batman. I love the suit. The more I see it, that is a bat suit. And to complement a good Batman, you need a good Alfred. And I like Jeremy Irons. I really didn't get enough of him like I did with Michael Caine in the Dark Knight trilogy. And I think I'll grow more to like him over time as I get more exposure with him. But he was good in the limited capacity that he was in. He's very hands-on, and I like seeing that aspect to Alfred. Henry Cavill was good yet again. I really liked him in Man of Steel, and once again, he was really good in this movie. Wonder Woman was excellent. Everyone was raving about Wonder Woman going into this, and yes, some of her lines are kind of wooden, but overall, she was great. She definitely presented this era of Wonder Woman. And overall, it looked visually stunning until the last third, and I could tell that there were some good ideas and some concepts in the film itself, as well as having some great action pieces. Now, what's wrong with the movie? Frankly, everything else. And I really point the finger at Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder, who directed the film, has often been cited for being more of a style over substance director. And after watching this movie, yeah, I can kind of see it. I will still fervently defend Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel, and I really don't understand the flack that it gets. Whereas this movie, this story is all over the place. It's just here, it's here, it's here, it's here, it's here. Generally, when a film is edited, it takes a lot for me to say the film was edited poorly. This one was edited very poorly. We're jumping sporadically all over the place to the point where you really have to be locked in and following it the whole time. And even me, who was locked in, was like, okay, I'm not tracking here. And I kind of thought going into it that I wouldn't like this, and I was right. Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. Like, it's basically Jesse Eisenberg playing every Jesse Eisenberg character. Some roles it works, like Zombieland, that, that, like, skinny, nervous Jeff Goldblum type of character, worked in Zombieland, it worked in Social Network, it does not work for Lex Luthor. The lines themselves could have been cool, were really menacing. The Lex Luthor I know always has this presence, this calm demeanor, but yeah, I've outsmarted you 3 moves ahead. Lex Luthor, this version, seemed more like a spoiled, whiny brat that just wanted to prove that he was better than everybody else, but he's really not. Like, the Lex Luthor I know, he wants to prove that he's better than everybody else because, frankly, he is better than everybody else. He's smarter, he's richer, he's just better. This Lex Luthor was so over-the-top comical. Think Jim Carrey's Riddler in Batman Forever. It's that kind of character. Now, the final act. We'll get more into spoiler territory when I'm with Josh and we do a spoiler-filled review, but this film borrows heavily from various DC storylines, which should, in essence, be a good thing. Now, there's one particular storyline that I have been asking and requesting and basically thinking someday it'll happen. It happens in this story, but in the worstly handled, yes, this movie is that bad that it's making me just lose how to speak. It was handled so badly that I was like, this story will never be done justice. Everything was just thrown together. And speaking of not doing things justice, there's a lot of Justice League references in this movie because the film is subtitled Dawn of Justice. And there are some nice references, but by and large, any reference to the Justice League itself felt incredibly shoehorned in. Like, there's some subplots that basically we need to get this team together. And that really just took me out of it yeah, I get, DC, that you need to build a world, but you gotta tell a story first. And then you can have some good, if you're telling a really good narrative, then you can have a good subplot about building a team for the future. But to be honest, I don't really know what the narrative for this movie is. It's Batman and Superman at war, I guess, but ladies and gentlemen, let me break it to you. This movie should actually be called Batman and Superman Fight Things. Because it really, the crux of the film should be Batman fighting Superman. But it's Batman's journey and Superman's journey, and they happen to collide at some point. The fight itself doesn't last very long, and I'm really pointing the finger as to why I was a little bit disappointed with this movie, with the ad campaign. I didn't seek out the trailers. I just watched whatever stuff came out, except for when new clips came out about a week before the movie came out. I just watched any of the trailers that came out. You gave away so much in the trailers. Not even just that one with the character not to be named that I have a lot of issues with in the final act, but you gave away a lot. A lot of the action scenes were given away. And without those action scenes, the movie's kind of slow. Like, the first 2/3, there's not a lot of action, but when there's good action, it's great action. There's some great fight scenes with Batman. It reminded me a lot of the Arkham games, and that's kind of the Batman I've wanted for a long time. It was fantastic when it was used. So, overall, this film is frankly not that good. I will watch it again, and I'll probably buy it when it comes on Blu-ray, because there are certain elements that are great that actually, I'll put it this way. I am optimistic about the future of DC after looking at the components of this movie, as long as Zack Snyder is not at the helm. Because Batman standalone movies, that gets me excited because Ben Affleck's Batman seems great. I'm excited for Wonder Woman movies because Gal Gadot seems great. I'm really looking forward to Justice League because there's some great characters and I think they've really casted that universe incredibly well. But Zack Snyder, man, I love Man of Steel, but this movie really brought to light his preference for style over substance and just throwing literally everything into this movie. And I'm very concerned about the future going forward if Zack Snyder's the one that we're going to go with. I will still loyally defend DC to the end because I want this universe to succeed, but if this is the path we're headed on, wow, we're going to be back in the Batman and Robin days before we know it. Overall, I will unfortunately have to give this movie a 6 out of 10. Well, what do you guys think of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice? Comment below. Let me know. If you like what you see and want to see more, subscribe to the channel. Or find me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at 17 Movie Reviews. And look later in the next couple days for Josh and I's spoiler-filled review of Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. Stay sharp, movie guys and gals.